So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce first the director, Francis Lawrence. The producer, Nina Jacobson. And from the cast, Willow Shields, Sam Claflin, Jeffrey Wright, Julianne Moore, Donald Sutherland, Natalie Dormer,
I know, right? Not the same.
Liam Hemsworth,
Are we in the same places as last time?
Josh Hutcherson,
Okay.
and Jennifer Lawrence.
Liam, I think you're like right there.
Fix this.
Please have a seat.
Good save.
Some things never change.
Francis and Nina, I want to start with you. The third film, definitely less action-oriented, of course, because there's no arena scenes, but a lot more raw emotion I found in this third one. How do the two of you see this film in the overall context of the story?
Well, I think this half of Mockingjay is really about Katniss discovering what she means to the people of all the districts, and really sort of finally taking on the responsibility in her role in this revolution. And it also gave us a chance to explore the idea of one of the facets of war, which is propaganda, and the manipulation of images and the manipulation of both Peeta and Katniss in that war of the airwaves.
How about you?
I also think that this movie is it's a natural outgrowth of the events of the first two movies. And we try to always approach it as though if these events occurred, how would human beings actually react? And what would you go through if the demands that are placed on Katniss were placed on you? And how would you be after two, wars/games, and knowing that now you're being put in a position to try to encourage your entire country to go to war. And so we've just tried to keep it emotionally honest.
And do we have Mahershala Ali? Ah, Mahershala Ali, new cast member. I'm like, I see an empty chair. What is going on? You mentioned the propaganda, and that is one of the interesting things, these propaganda, propos, the films that are produced, that Natalie, your character, produces. But Jennifer, what you're asked to do is be a bad actress in the first
Took me a
propos,
second
aren't
to
you?
realize what you were talking about. I was like, whoa.
I mean, Katniss was pretty horrible at those first ones. How did you get into the mindset of being a bad actress?
I didn't, thank you. I didn't know. It's odd even just to act like you're acting in a movie, which I've never done before, and to act badly, but make it look. I mean, I don't know. I just I got nervous about that too. But then, like the Night Terrors, I just showed up and Francis forced me to do it. And, we just did it. It's easy. Anybody can do it.
Josh, how did you find out that one of your moms from the Kids Are All Right was going to be President Coin?
Oh, that's weird. Come on, Dave.
It was funny. I found out, I think, my mom or whoever saw the thing come through on the internet told me, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I had no idea something that was going to happen. But when I first saw her on set, it was like, wow, you got elected. Congratulations.
It's really uncomfortable. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it wasn't really. Where's mom number 2? Where's she? No.
Maybe there's a part for Annette in the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
In the next one.
Right.
Do you know something we don't? Is
Well,
there a fifth?
oh, you've already done.
Okay.
Julianne, you have a 12-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
Are you
I
winning
do.
major cool points for being in this movie?
Oh my God, and a son who's about to be 17. So he was the one who first read the books, actually. I bought him
the third volume. I bought him Mockingjay in the bookstore. I came home, honey, here's that book from the series you like, because he was young at the time. You just want to encourage them to read what they love, and he adored it and was online for the first midnight show of Hunger Games in New York City. And then when my daughter read the books a few years ago, she was 10 when she started reading. I actually picked up her copy because we were on vacation and they were playing ping pong and I had nothing to read. So I picked it up and I was like, these are amazing. I just tore through them and then I called my manager to see who was playing coin. That's how it happened, I swear to God.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And Willow, you're a few months away from turning 15.
Yeah.
So you're approaching the age that Katniss is in the first book. Do you find that as the years have gone by that these movies are speaking to you personally more and more?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's cool to have grown alongside my character because I feel like as Prim has grown up, she's gotten stronger, more like Katniss, and I feel like I've gotten stronger as a person too. So to grow alongside my character has been really fun, and I think that, I think Prim is kind of following in Katniss's footsteps, just in a little bit of a different way, which is cool.
And Sam, we talked about this earlier today, but Finnick is a very different guy in this movie than he was the last time. Like the sheen is gone. He's a damaged dude. What was it like for you to play him in this different realm?
I think the way that the best example of Finnick and his sort of journey, I guess, is he's very similar to Marilyn Monroe. But in the sense, in front of the cameras, in public, he is a character. He puts up a front, puts up a guard, really allows himself to become someone completely different. But behind closed doors, he's damaged. He's vulnerable, sensitive, broken, in a sense. And I think, not that I kind of, watched every Marilyn Monroe film in the world, but that definitely was something, some inspiration to me, I guess.
That's incredible.
So I think
It's true, though.
it's true.
Inspiration
But
I
it's-
can't believe you
That's
guys coming out your
great.
mouth
But
right now.
I think it did really inform me as to what he would be like, and I guess this time around, it is a very, very different approach to a character. But it's nice to be able to have the opportunity to show both sides of the coin. Wait, coin, president.
So,
Exactly.
Donald, there's one great line that you have at a very pivotal moment, and it's so succinct, and you're just ruminating, and you say, referring to Katniss and what she's up to, moves and counter moves. In a way, I think that one line sums up the entire relationship between the two of you. What do you enjoy about the dynamic and playing it?
Well, I mean, that's a chess game, and certainly with Katniss, she's not actually playing chess, but she's making moves, and I'm playing chess with her. But it certainly doesn't define their relationship. It defines the activity of their relationship, but their relationship is one of someone who, at the end of his life, has been made aware of a particular kind of genius in the sense of Joan of Arc or Jesus Christ or whomever. Shaw wrote about it in his preface to St. John. And to have this, it's very difficult to let it go. I mean, he has to destroy her, and he will, but it's very difficult.
Jennifer, you throw one arrow. What you love about the first movies were a lot of the action scenes, as much as really trying to be physical. But in this one, you're acting more with your eyes, your face expressions. So how different was it from the previous two movies that you had so much action and not as much in this one, and maybe even more acting? ¿Cómo fue hacer esta película en la cual en tus dos primeras cintas de los Juegos del Hambre tienes muchas escenas de acción y en esta te limitas a tener más expresiones faciales, muchas menos secuencias de batalla?
Please answer in Spanish.
Sí.
En
español. En español.
I wish I
What
could
was that
just
last
whip
part?
that out. No, it was so perfect. Yeah, there was a lot less action in these movies. And, she's in in a very different place emotionally at the beginning of these movies. She's been, the games have completely changed her. So it's not, she's kind of has to totally rebuild herself. So yeah, there wasn't as much action this time, more just kind of her reaction, I guess, to everything.
And the one arrow?
The one arrow was, I want to straighten something up. A lot of people think that that the arrow hit like a vulnerable spot on the hovercraft. It was an explosive arrow.
Yeah.
We would never think that would be true, but anyway, it's something we should know.
Question here in the front row, the gentleman with the glasses, yeah, with the yellow shirt.
As well.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Bruce Kirkland from the Toronto Sun in Canada. And I have a question in regards to the political and social sophistication of these movies, just like there was in the novels. So I'd be curious for Mr. Sutherland, Ms. Moore, and Ms. Lawrence to talk about it, because Donald, you represent the extreme, and of course it's ironical because you're the most humanitarian person I think I've ever met. But nevertheless, you represent fascism. Julianne, you represent freedom. And Jennifer, you're struggling between these extremes as the way for the audience to identify with these issues too. So I'm very intrigued by the sophistication of a young adult series of films that has these issues. So I'd love to hear from the three of you on that.
Well, my version of being caught in between the two, as you say, I think, as you said, he's representing fascism, coined freedom, only her version of freedom. And Katniss is representing the consequences of war. It's not that she doesn't believe in what President Coyne wants. It's not that she doesn't believe that the Capitol is a terrible government that's only good for, the 1% and blah, blah, blah. But war is complicated. And it affects everyone on both sides. So I think for Katniss, I think we have the two very strong points, complete opposing sides, and then the one person caught in the middle that's feeling the pain from both. That there really is no right way to start or end a war. I don't know.
Well,
and then at the end of all of it, I'm like, but I don't know.
But that's what fascinated me most about the books as a parent, because when I read them, I was really struck by the political allegory, and that's very unusual, obviously, in YA. And I was like, oh my gosh, these are political books with adolescent overtones. So, and the thing about dystopia is that what it posits is whether or not we have free will as human beings. And for adolescents in particular, that's a time when that idea is looming pretty large, because you haven't had free will. You're in your parents' house and you're looking to those next few years. You're going to be on your own, and who you're going to be as a human being. What are your moral choices going to be? What are your romantic choices going to be? And so here you have the central character who's trying to decide who she's going to be personally and who she's going to be politically. And it's fascinating. It's really, really wonderful. And then Suzanne Collins also sets up this idea of the difference between about freedom and totalitarianism, and how you move from one political system to another. I think it's amazing, and obviously speaks, not just to me, but to millions of people, because it's been wildly successful. These are ideas that we all, I think about.
The allegory is evident, in the comparison with the United States. And when I first read the script, I truly wanted to be a part of this project so that I could look back at the end of my life, which is pretty close, and say, I was a piece of this. Because for me, how she has presented this dilemma to young people and demanded from them a resolution, demanded from them a participation that could change things, because the world that my generation is leaving everyone is a disaster in every respect, environmentally, politically, socially, economically. So when I read it, I just begged to be a part of it, so that in the hope that it would be a catalyst for young people to get them off the seat of their pants that they've been sitting on for at least 2 generations, doing nothing. That somebody from somebody like Occupy or whomever use these films to generate from young people an energy that will take them into the voting booths in the United States in 2016 and make people responsible, politicians responsible for their words and their actions, to make them represent them. You know, I hope somehow.
Francis, by the way, a beautiful job shooting the movie. I thought it was unbelievable. I'm sorry to follow that with such a goofy question, but I had all these serious questions written down, and I saw you on Fallon last night make a reference to how awkward the kissing scenes were in the film, because they said you would chew garlic and onions before the kiss. I don't know if there's any truth behind that.
Smell. I wouldn't say that. I just didn't think so much about the kissing, so I would just kind of eat whatever it was that I wanted to eat.
She'd tell me what she ate, and then
I think that
usually
the
it was
onions you're
something
referring
horrible.
to was just,
They
I
were
just had a
shallots.
sandwich with mustard and raw onions.
Well, no, she'd say it, but then she's like, and I didn't brush my teeth. So.
It's just a fair warning.
A serious question for you real quick. I love the line that Julianne Moore says in the movie. He says, there's no progress without compromise. And I thought that was, there's no progress without compromise. I think it's a brilliant line. I'm wondering for you as actors in this business, how does that apply to you as an actor in taking on movies and having compromises in your own lives?
I mean, I think it's there's no, not even progress, and there's no life without compromise. I think in everything you do, there's some sort of compromise. Boy, I mean, I think that for us personally, there's a fairly large sacrifice or compromise that happens with public attention or with a loss of anonymity when you go somewhere. But I don't know. What do you think, Jen?
I mean, the easiest way to say it.
I think you should never compromise your passion.
Yeah. No.
Hi, guys.
Space.
Awesome movie, first off. Thank you so much for giving it to us. Just amazing. If we could go down the road, Liam, Jennifer, Josh, what quality does your character have that you wish you had, that you don't have, and why?
He's a pretty brave guy. I would consider myself brave in some ways, but I think he acts impulsively and instinctively a lot. And I don't know, I guess you'd like to think and hope that you would act that bravely in that kind of situation, but I don't know, I haven't had to fight a war, so bravery.
Jennifer?
Damn it.
It's pretty much the same, yeah.
I'd say that that's the same for all of us, right? No?
Yeah, I guess
Uncompromisingly
yes.
bravery?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, I don't know what I would be like going through what Peter goes through, being tortured and brainwashed and everything, but I think that he fights his way back with the help of others and support of others, so his ability to fight through extremely adverse challenges, I think, is something that I admire.
You're definitely
and I
not
haven't
that good of a
faced yet.
baker.
I'm not that good of a baker. That's another quality. That's a good point. Baking is the quality that I wish I possessed.
I do too.
My first job was a baker. I used to make bread.
There'll be so
We
many
should've
random
changed
things.
roles.
They're like, I was like flipping through a magazine the other day, and he was like, I used to lay those kind of floors. It's like you've lived for 100 years.
I'm an old soul.
Hi, Josh. I can't help but think it was like 6 years ago, and I was talking to you about the journey to the center of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And now my little 14-year-old niece is all she can think about is having your poster up on her wall with an autograph or something. How has it been for you and for Jennifer to sort of realize your dreams here? And is success everything for both of you that you expected or thought it would be?
Well, how how do I say this without sounding like a total idiot? I never had a plan or a goal. I've never really been a goal-oriented person in my life. So the idea of having success or being in a movie like this was never part of my plan, so to speak. My plan was always just to make interesting movies and work with interesting people and tell stories, and this fell into that category. So I kind of happened into this whole world just through my normal way of finding projects. But it's been a big change. You know, Jen says that when she was offered the role, she like had a few days to think about it because she knew how much of a change it would be. I didn't really think about it at all. I just knew that I loved the script, loved the story, and loved all the people involved. And so for me, I was just like, yes. And then later was like, oh my God, this is a big life change. But it's like one of those things where until you lose it, you don't know how important it is, or you can't really put a value on it. And by it, I mean anonymity. And once you lose that, and every restaurant you go into, people recognize you, and all of a sudden you know that they know so many things about your life, true and not true. And it's very like exposed. You feel very exposed everywhere you go, and it's a hard thing to wrap your head around, and was never really a plan that I had in place for my life whatsoever.
Yeah, it's certainly a blessed life, but there are also sacrifices. But I get to do what I love, and there's a downside to every job.
I think for me, it's like we have such great friendships and relationships, especially the three of us, that we came up in this together from the beginning, you know, and we kind of experienced this massive change as one, and there's not many people you can kind of relate to about this issue, and the fact that the three of us are so close, and we kind of all grew up in this sort of craziness together, I think helps a lot with us maintaining our sanity, more or less.
But can I talk about Josh though, just because I did know him, and in my estimation, in my experience of him, he hasn't changed at all. He was how old were you, 16? 16, yeah. But as a 16-year-old, he was exceptionally articulate and talented, and had drive about what he wanted to achieve personally, the kind of work that he wanted to do. He'd already accomplished a tremendous amount. I realized that because I'd seen all of his movies with my kids when he was a child actor. So I don't see, what was great for me was to see this person who had grown up considerably, but whose personality and work ethic and everything had remained intact. So I think, from in my view, it's been handled really gracefully by all of them.
Okay, question right here in the front.
Yeah.
Hi.
Feeling
Caitlin Cooper, teen.com.
Hello.
Love you guys. We heard a lot about the bumps and bruises, broken hands here, a twisted knee here from catching fire.
Nobody broke their hand.
No?
Oh yeah, Sam did. But that was on Catching Fire.
Just let her finish her question before you jump in there with your rash.
So were there any for either Mockingjay?
Liam broke his ankle.
Yeah, it was a hairline fracture. It was nothing too.
There's an ambulance.
Still fucked the whole day up, whatever
it certainly did, didn't it? Yeah. Almost the rest of the shoot, too.
Yeah. So
3 weeks away from shooting.
You knocked me out, man. One time, remember, you hit me in the side of the face with it.
I felt really bad about that.
That thing was hard. Yeah. I understand. I'd probably feel bad about it, too, if I were you. But you did it so many times, like it was bound to happen.
But, it looks good on screen.
And that's all that matters. The cameras are rolling. Yeah, exactly.
Question right here.
Wheelchair wheel.
Hi, I'm Allie, also with teen.com. You guys were just talking about your close relationship. So I wanted to know, the last day of filming, we saw some pictures that were like super emotional, everyone hugging. When you were getting ready to do that last day of filming, did you have like a mindset of, oh, this is going to be really emotional, this is going to be really this, and did it meet your expectations? Did anything change?
I think the last couple of weeks we started to realize that it was going to finish, and that was when, because we'd been shooting for a year, and we were kind of ready to, have a break. And Jennifer and I, the last week we were shooting in Berlin, we started to, talk about the realization that it was going to end, and it was really emotional,
Yeah, it was complicated because it was such a long shoot. It was, we were there for 10 months, and it was hard and exhausting. So there was like a part of smelling the barn and, wanting to wrap to see we could give our bodies a break, but realizing that when it was over, we weren't gonna, we always have that, and then we go and we do other stuff, and then we come back and we have each other again, and realizing that was gonna be gone, it was just so complicated. It was such a complicated mix of feelings because it was like relief on one end because we were exhausted, but so sad to never, I mean, we're still best friends. We still see each other all the time, way too much. But you know, but it's different. I mean, I've never had something. If all I had was this friendship with Josh and Liam, like if that was all I ever got from this, I mean, I would be the happiest person in the entire world. They're my greatest blessing that I got to, you know, our lives changed together and we had each other. But having Francis as our director, who's like, I mean, he's just unbelievably talented. And he's the nicest, kindest person in the world. And from the producers to the writers to the camera guys who were with us from the very beginning to the new cast, that like everybody just really got along. So I've never seen anything like it come together so beautifully with no egos and no nothing. It was sad to see that go.
That's why we like to announce Hunger Games 5, 6, and 7.
I do. I would totally do it. Oh my God. I don't know what happened
a web series.
with the casting or with what happened with this movie, but it was like a miracle with all of the people. So it was heartbreaking. You know, I thought I was going to be relieved because I was so tired, and then they called rap, and I just started sobbing.
Yeah. Question here.
Hi guys, Dave Morales, Fox TV Houston. Incredible films, incredible cast, and so my question is, what do you want your legacy as a cast to be? What do you hope people say in 10 years about the Hunger Games?
It was the best franchise in the history of the world.
They're still rich.
Let's see.
All right. Jennifer, I know in the film a lot of people look up to you as well as they do in real life, and I know you seem like a pretty normal person. What is that pressure like for you?
I have an amazing group of people around me that I make my world. I surround myself with no people, and people who are constantly telling me no and stop acting like that and you look terrible. Honest, no, but honest, real people. My publicists I've had since I was 16 years old. They've watched me grow up. They know me and genuinely do love me. I know it sounds crazy, but my agents I've had since I was 17. I have an amazing group of friends that are not in the business, that I've been friends with for years before any of this happened, that I trust. Because something strange does happen that you don't expect when you become famous. It's a very tiny thing that makes a big emotional difference. It's just the way that people look at you, because I don't feel any different. And so sometimes when you go out and you're surrounded with a lot of, and you see the way that people look at you, it just kind of makes you feel alienated and kind of odd. So I try to surround myself with people who never look at me that way and never fake laugh at my jokes and keep me, you know, it's funny because my friend is actually trying to interview to like find me an assistant. And one of the most important things, she's like, Jennifer hates fake laughs. Never chortle, never fake laugh. But yeah, I don't have fake people around me, and Josh and Liam.
Oh, it's so fun.
I'm gonna throw in a question from.
Awful to me.
I'm gonna toss in a question for Natalie because I haven't heard from you yet, and I'm just so intrigued by the look of Cressida, particularly the shaved head and the tats. What was your first reaction when you saw maybe a sketch of what they were gonna do to you?
I was really impressed, and the amazing Oscar-winning makeup designer V. Neal. He's in the room, I believe. Yeah. He's here. V, wave. Yeah, V. Woo! V looks after Jen a lot, and Jen and I were in the makeup trailer a lot together every morning, getting stuff done, 2 hours.
I was there when you shaved your head.
You were?
I was like, dude, are you sure? Oh my God, oh my God!
Yeah, you were actually. Yeah, you were really supportive. Hair and makeup were very supportive. It's nice in Mockingjay Part 1 because you meet members of Plutarch's underground. You meet people who are Capitol residents, such as Cressida, that do have the genuine political conviction to overthrow Snow and tyrannical government. So I think that tattoo that Suzanne Collins came up with is a nice nod to that aesthetic past, that what you were saying about about Peter's past and his family. I think there's a nice nod there to where Cressida comes from. But here's a bunch of people that are from the Capitol that want to join the freedom fighters and unite all the districts together to fight Snow. So it was a nice aesthetic comment on the psychology behind her.
Hi. Meg Porter from Deco Drive, WSVN TV Miami. My question is for Jennifer and Josh. Both of your characters go through such emotionally devastating scenes. I would like to know how you prepared for that. And Jennifer, how did that compare to preparing for singing in the movie?
I don't know. We went about it in a similar way, where I read what's going on. I talk to Francis about it. We show up on set and then we try something. I mean, technically, that's how it was done. But I feel like I've said it a million times, but it's still the same. Katniss is completely stripped down and is in a completely different place emotionally at the beginning of these films, and kind of has to rebuild to get back to the Katniss that even I know from the other two films, and that doesn't happen until halfway through the movie. But until then, she doesn't really know who she is. So, kind of playing the same character that people recognize, but that's but it's very different. And yeah, Josh, take it away.
Take it away.
Should have interrupted me 5 seconds ago.
I thought about it. I really did think about it. I was like, I'm gonna see where this is going.
Nowhere.
Oh, nowhere. Should have jumped in. All right.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the most important thing for me was really empathizing with Peeta and sort of what he had gone through, and just really talking with Francis and really trying to understand what actual tortures went on and what the kind of lies that he's being fed about Katniss and the rebellion, what those were. Understanding that was important for me, and I mean, yeah, that was really it. Just kind of talking with Francis about what Peeta went through, I think was the most important part, and just understanding that. The tears were real, yes. They were. I mean, once you're in that emotionally heightened state and you feel like you've lost everything, and the one thing that you thought that you loved, you've been brainwashed to tell is like a evil monster, it's easier than you think to bring yourself to tears if you have any kind of empathy.
I just hold my eyes open for a really long time.
Are you going to do question number 1 or number 2? They're both good. Number 1, okay.
Hi, my name is Noah Schachter, and I'm from Kids Day. So this is directed to Jennifer. So I want to know, how do you think your character will inspire fans that are my age?
You are very well spoken. I think that, I hope that Katniss can inspire people your age by making this kind of younger generation realize how powerful your voice can be, and it's hard sometimes when a large group of people are kind of, it's easy to kind of follow the feet in front of you. It's a lot harder sometimes to speak out, and so I hope that what you take away from Katniss is to be an individual, to think for yourself, and to not let other people think for you.
Hi, I'm Christina Gibson with Cambio. This movie is a lot darker than the first two, so I was wondering, how did you guys keep it fun and light on set in between takes when you weren't in these heavy scenes?
The question is, how did we keep the movie dark and heavy?
Yeah, I think that's the opposite. I mean, quite honestly, this group, I have to say, with everybody involved, people are able to turn it on and off. It always stayed really fun. It really did, and everybody was really good about that. So there was no sort of dwelling in the mood or the emotion of any scene. There's actually a really terrific, Jen at one point wanted to see a blooper reel because there's a lot of fun stuff happening around on set, and the editors put something together that I had never seen before. It was a string of the moment action was called, strung together back to back. And it was just insane to see everybody go from kind of laughing, cracking jokes, and then you hear action, and they go right into the scene, just in the moment, every one of them. And it was incredible to see just that instant change. And it was kind of a lucky thing that for all of us, people were able to turn it on and off.
I've got a question for Sam Cleveland. So Finnick's character has been performing for the Capitol a lot longer than Katniss was. And he gets kind of a real cracker of a monologue in this film, where I think all of the pieces sort of come together in a very short period of time. I wondered if you could talk about, he's sort of experiencing like a little bit of a revenge in that speech, as well as he's trying to protect someone, and all the pieces of his character are kind of coming together there.
Well, I think that's throughout this sort of film, Finnick grows in confidence, and you start seeing the sort of the glint in his eye come back from the, you know, the charming, beautiful man that he was in the last one. So I think it's his confidence is back. He's ready to fight for what he believes in. He realizes that he's not a lone wolf, that he has Katniss to look to kind of, to be inspired by. You know, she's sort of thrust into the limelight immediately after kind of going through this traumatic experience, whereas he's left to wallow in his own self-pity. But I think he realizes that, yeah, he has something to fight for, that he can make a change, and something that he is able to do is trying to recruit and sort of symbolically, is that a word? I don't know. Yeah, yes. I like it. I'm going to go with it. Symbolically kind of, recruit newbies. And it's obviously something that BT does is able to kind of, what's the word? Distribute this message to all of the districts, and therefore it's, you know, obviously an important message and an important moment in Finnick's life, I guess. Yeah.
Ismail from the Huffington Post French edition. I wanted to know, Jennifer, how are you linked with your character, because she's the center of the attention, and in your career you are also the center of the attention. How do you feel connected with her?
I always get nervous kind of making comparisons, because Katniss is the leader of a rebellion that changes the world, and I'm, you know, just chilling.
A clown.
We're clowns. And I'm a pawn on a chessboard. That was
there you go.
Very similar.
You're a piece of the game.
I'll take this one.
Thank you, Natalie.
Nice. I'll take this one because I stood next to Jennifer Lawrence for 9 months as an actress watching another actress, and I stood by her as Cressida watching Katniss. Jen was saying that Katniss doesn't have any ego, nor does Jennifer Lawrence. And the reason that Katniss is so compelling to an audience and charismatic is because she's true to herself, and she doesn't suffer the bullshit, the BS, and the superficial elements. You just said it yourself, you know, think for yourself, act for yourself. Jen's getting that reputation as a young actress, and she deserves it, and that's why people look up to her. She's a great role model, and so is Katniss Everdeen. There's simpatico in that. And she can't comment on that herself, because by the very nature of her personality, she wouldn't. So,
thank you.
Good job.
God.
Here?
She does have a secret rebellion planned as well.
Yeah, I do. I don't know what it's going to be about, but it's brewing.
Same as Katniss.
Hi, I'm Casey Baker from People magazine. I brought my 12-year-old to see the movie last night, and we loved it. So well done. Congratulations. For Jennifer and Liam, what is something you learned about yourself from the very beginning, or about each other, that maybe surprised you?
Something I always learned from Jem was, you know, to stay in the moment and be honest, and you know, never change for the wrong reasons. You know, just be yourself. That was something so great that I always noticed about Jem, was no matter what, she was just herself, and she was honest, and you know, she enjoyed what she was doing, and she was happy in the moment. You know, I think that's why she's a great actress, is because she adapts to a situation so easily.
Thanks.
Welcome.
God, this is like the best press conference ever. Natalie, do you have anything to say? I don't know. I mean, Liam, I guess the thing that surprised me, I would never expect to ever have a man this good looking ever be my best friend. I would just never assume those things could happen. But he is. He's the most wonderful, lovable, like just family-oriented, sweet, hilarious. He's amazing. And he actually taught me how to be fair, but to stand up for myself. That's like my biggest weakness is with all movies, with negotiating, with just kind of anything, or with people. am a wimp about standing up for myself. And Liam is always fair. He's always on time. He's always doing his job. But he's really good about, you know, making sure that everything stays fair. Whereas I like used to let people walk all over me. But, you know, he's kind of teaching me to like toughen up a little bit, which is important. And I needed that. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks. Well, before we finish up, what?
Herbie Moreau from Bell Media, Canada. Jennifer, here. What was the most difficult scene you had to play in the movie, and what is the most enjoyable scene you had to do?
Most difficult scene was singing. Most enjoyable scene. Why is all the water stuff in my mouth? Oh, no, another movie. Second movie. Most enjoyable scene.
When we're all together, no? Like the whole cast?
Yeah. When we're all together, obviously. But I was just thinking like scenery, because normally when we're all together, we're doing something miserable.
What?
We are. We're like in like the boardroom with like the fluorescent lights, and it's like, where's outside? But we had to do a scene in a meadow that was really beautiful. I got a good selfie of me peeing in it. But actually the control room was kind of fun. It was just a really cool set, and yeah, and we're all together except for you. Oh God, actually worse than the singing was when I had to watch those videos of Josh like over and over and over again. Oh my God, it was like 15 or 20 times. I was like, I get it. Just put on a piece of tape and I'll start crying. I swear, I'll do it. I can't watch my baby in pain this much.
I thought you were saying it was such bad
It
acting.
was.
I couldn't
bad
bear
acting.
to watch it
No,
more.
just the same thing over and over again, and they were so long, and like I started memorizing. At one point, I thought I was like mouthing along with you about, I was just like, oh, it was miserable. Any scene where you're eating, okay, I'll stop. I've answered your question.